Computer. Hi, it's Matt Kendall here once again. It's my birthday. Yay. I'm here with Charlie. We've just done his feedback session. Now, Charlie did his training only a month ago, and he's completed his case studies. We've just done his feedback session now, and now he's going to go off and join the association, become a practitioner. So, hello, Charlie. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great, thank you.
And
You all right?
whereabouts in the world are you? Because I know you're abroad, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Tallinn in Estonia.
Oh, well, there we go, in Estonia. But you are British.
Yes, that's correct.
You're living out in Estonia. So you attended, obviously we do it on Zoom. Um, so before you did the training course, just tell us a little bit, what's your background in terms of sort of career and anything to do with sort of therapy and training?
Okay, well, I came to therapy about 4 years ago after I finished a 16-year career in teaching. And I started out coaching. Then I did a diploma in hypnotherapy. And I've been using that for the last few years. And then I heard about IEMT maybe about 6 months ago when I was looking at CPD courses to attend. And I watched some videos on YouTube. I think they were like, it was mostly your videos and the introduction to IEMT that you did. And I just thought it made a lot of sense. But at the same time, it was different from everything else that I'd studied. It was different from uh, anything that I'd read about before. So I was intrigued by it.
Because you'd had a background in hypnosis
Yeah.
and you're looking for different, and I think that's because hypnosis I think is great. I don't like doing hypnosis online, to be perfectly honest. I like, if I'm going to hypnotize somebody, I want to be in the room with them.
Mm.
Just my personal preference. But I think that once you, what I personally find is that when you do hypnosis, people think you can do everything from A to Z, literally everything from A to Z, because you can get a script for anything, and it kind of puts everybody at the same level.
Yeah.
So I think by learning extra skills, and now the thing is, you can't really do EMDR unless you've got a medical qualification. And it's also, I don't know how long the training is. I keep reading different things, but I know it's not a short training. An IMT is a much more, obviously a faster, it's a weekend training. So I've got
Yeah.
thunder and lightning going on today. Happy birthday, me. Um, and so you found, so what did you sort of, so you said, you were watching videos and stuff like that, but were you actively looking for eye movement
No,
therapy?
not actively looking for that. No, because I didn't know that it existed.
Mm,
Um, I I think maybe there was somebody a colleague of mine that was a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and she also used EMDR. And so I looked up what that was, and maybe
right.
that led me to IEMT. I don't know. I honestly can't remember how it happened,
Yeah, okay.
but I watch a lot of like therapy videos on YouTube and
Okay. And then you came across, because, obviously, and this is content. I put an awful lot of content out. And I
mm,
think
yeah,
the best thing to do is interview people who've had experience with it, because that gives you the best sort of, well, review of it, I suppose. So you came to do the training course
yeah,
again, which was a month ago, almost to the day, I think.
yeah.
Um, what did you? I'm going to throw a load of questions right at you right now. Okay, so what did you think about
Okay.
the course in terms of the preparation materials, how
Okay,
the
good.
course was actually structured, the teaching of the course, the content of the course, and the experience of kind of going through it, working with people, and the aftercare support? All of those questions right now. So basically, before, during, and after, what was it like for you?
I'm the worst person to just throw a load of questions at, really. So
Okay,
terrible
I'll ask
memory.
you, what did you think about the pre-course information? Because I send a week before, I send a lot of information to
Yeah,
you.
that was great. It went into my spam folder though, unfortunately. So, um, but when I did get it, it was it was very thorough, and I did feel that it really prepared me for the training. In that I had to like really think about what I was going to be working on, my own issues, and it kind of also gave me a little idea of what was possible with IEMT, the kind of
Mm.
things that we'd be working on. So I thought that was a good preparation for the course, for the training.
Cool. And because I do give people, sorry, it's just absolutely throwing it down. Um, because what I don't want to do is I don't want people to just come to the course without any kind of preparation, because
Mm,
that means I then have to spend hours explaining stuff, going through things and
exactly.
technical setups and sort of everything like that. And although your thing may have gone to the spam folder, I actually have like a database, and I know if you've responded to me to say that you've
Right.
got it. So I always say if you haven't, so I do get people to make sure that they
Yeah.
do get it, so I'd sort of nudge people, just making sure you got it, just making sure you got it, just so they,
It yeah, it might not have been that. It might have been the form that we had to fill in.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, it was that went into my spam folder.
yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear this. It's like some sort of end of world hailstorm.
Oh wow.
Not good.
Can't hear it.
Oh, good. Um, it's just absolutely bonkers. So you got that, you got the videos. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever done an online training before?
Yeah, many. I've
Okay.
done many online
So
trainings.
what did you think about the experience of going through the online training? What was it like for you?
Well, okay. I mean, again, the preparation was really, really important, I think, because the training itself is very practical. And we were all, I think there were 10 of us on the course, and we were all paired up with different people every time. And we had to work on our own issues. And I think without thinking that through before the training, that would have taken up a lot of time thinking about different memories to work on, different people, identities to work on. Um, the yeah I mean the training weekend was very, very interesting. It was great to work with a lot of different people. It was great to work on things that would improve my own life, my own working on my own issues
Mm,
was very important. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to the training as well, that it was very kind of like useful for me, even if I was not
mm.
planning on using it as a practitioner in the future.
And how did you? I know we were just talking about this a little bit before, but excuse me, you do get to work on a lot of your own stuff. And how has that been? The things that you worked on.
It was that was really interesting because in the preparation, I came up with, like, for example, some labels that I had never really thought of as labels.
Mm,
They were just things that were told to me when I was a child, um, that I in the day before the training, actually, when I was listing all these labels, that I actually formulated as a label. Um, and that later had this on the second day when we did the identity work, that made a lot of sense. Everything fell into place, and that label that I'd never thought of as a label before, just like all the lights went on, and it was quite an amazing experience. In the week afterwards, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the major problem for me was procrastination and just getting on with work, and for various reasons. And I just noticed that for me, in the week after the training, I was just getting on with things and just doing them. And I knew that I was doing it, and I knew it was different from the previous, like, pre-training me.
mm.
But I still couldn't quite believe that I was just being so productive and just getting things done. It was
No,
yeah.
now when it comes to productivity, people think that, excuse me, excuse me, that they have to get really psyched up and everything like that, which I don't think really helps, especially in
No,
the long term. Now, you're being more productive, but you're not putting extra stress or working necessarily harder, no?
no, definitely not. No,
Mm,
like sort of just like getting up in the morning and just starting doing things, because I think
mm,
with procrastination, certainly for me, it's the starting that is really, really difficult.
yeah.
The interesting thing is, I did a 2-day training a few months ago about, specifically about procrastination, and it didn't have any effect on me at all.
No, this is a true story. So I used to run a lot of meetup events in London, and there used to be a meetup called Procrastination Society of London, and they asked me to go and do a talk. The day before they got told they're going to have to postpone it. And I said, you must understand the irony. And of course, it never happened. So, so you got a lot of experiences from yourself.
Yeah.
And I believe that it makes you a better therapist if you go through the process yourself. So
Yeah.
everything that I teach you, I do a demonstration, you go through yourself and experience
Mm-hmm.
it. So when you're working with your clients, you can be more empathetic and say, this is what it's kind of like. I've been through it.
I think the important thing, though, is that we don't just go through it. We go through it on both sides. We go through it as a practitioner and as the client as well.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you the both the two perspectives, which is important.
And if people watching don't understand what we mean by this, so basically we have a group of 10 and there's me as the trainer. So everything is broken down into a module, all the different eye patterns and all the different tools that we use. I do a presentation around it. I then do a demonstration with somebody. Everyone then goes into a breakout room, and a breakout room just looks like this. Basically, it's just two of you in a private room, and you work with pretty much everybody on the course throughout the weekend. And then so it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long it is, we come back into the main room and we discuss it. So any kind of revelations, kind of what happened, how it went, and any questions. And then we move on to the next thing. And that's the whole weekend. We do that for every single thing. And I try to make it as modular as possible and compartmentalize. If not, I think it's just overwhelm. And by giving people the experience of it, and it's all recorded as well. So you can watch it all again afterwards, all the demonstrations, and you see all the nuances and all of the stuff. Okay. So we did that. Great. And then obviously we set up the WhatsApp group, and I'm always around. So, because one thing which I hate is when you go on a course, you pay your money, and then if you have a question or something like that, you just can't get hold of the trainer. And I've had that happen so many times. So I thought, you know what? The way that I see this, when people pay the money, half the money's for the course, half the money's for the aftercare.
Yeah.
And so I do a monthly basically like coaching call with everybody where I'll do more demonstrations. I do Facebook Lives nearly every day. I'm on the WhatsApp group, and so it's a very active WhatsApp group as well. So for everyone who goes through the course, I create a WhatsApp group so they can ask questions and share wins and whatever it might be. And obviously email and support as well. So how do you find the aftercare from this?
Excellent. It was one of the reasons that I signed up for your course was because of the aftercare. And I think the WhatsApp group is fantastic because everybody kind of contributes, and it's as you said during the training, it's important to get the case studies done as soon as you can after the training.
Yeah.
And the WhatsApp group kind of facilitates that because people are talking about how they're doing with their case studies, and it kind of encourages you to make a move with yours. So yeah.
So let's go on to the case studies then. So
okay,
from the training weekend to case studies, how was it? Let's talk about the first person first. We don't need to go into any sorts of specific details or personal details with the person, but first case study, first session, first person, how was it?
It was 3 weeks ago, so memory of it is quite vague, even though we've just literally been talking about it. The first case study was, I mean, both of my case studies were quite similar in that they both dealt with problems at work and problems with not feeling enough, I think.
Yeah.
And with the one case study, it was there was a lot of I think the emphasis was on the being worried about disappointing people and being a people pleaser. So it was interesting to work on something like that. I found it difficult to apply the different techniques, specifically the two complex ones. The simple ones were not so challenging. It was really good to see the changes that were made, to see and to especially in the second sessions to get the feedback about the intervening week where the changes had started to manifest. I mean, I found it difficult to do. I'm not gonna
Mm.
say it was easy, but it was very rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Because you found it difficult to do because
Mm.
you were doing it for the first time, you know.
Yeah, and I was
Mm.
trying to you're trying to like do everything correctly because
Yeah.
you don't want to let down the person that's volunteered for you, even though
Hmm.
they know that you're not
Yeah.
fully qualified yet. But but even so, it was in spite of not knowing or feeling like I didn't know what I was doing, it was good to achieve the results that
Well, yeah,
we
like I said,
managed to
we've
achieve.
just been through your case studies. And the thing is,
Mm,
what I find, even if you apply the IEMT algorithms, well, I'm saying badly, but not perfectly, it still works well.
yeah,
They're quite robust tools, that we actually use. They're quite robust techniques. And then basically, and this is what I say to everyone, practice, 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 because you're doing three things. You're speaking this language, you're speaking a language pattern, you're moving your hand, and you're observing the client all at
yeah,
the same time. Now, you can do two of those things in preparation and learn them off by heart. And then that allows you to focus 100% on the client. And
yeah,
that just comes through sort of practice, or basically practice on your own and practicing with people. But the way that the thing is, you can begin to integrate this into your work. You can just do one of the tools.
yeah.
You don't have to do a full, like with EMDR, it's an 8-phase system, right? We're not like that with IEMT. It's it's a simple, lots of little tools that we use. Because one of your clients, the second case study, was very skeptical. I think it was the second one, was very
That's right. Yeah,
skeptical.
yes.
And so, what was it like having somebody who was very skeptical and then doing the first eye movement with him?
It was, I mean, he approached it really with an open mind,
Mm,
and he didn't tell me he was skeptical about it before we started. And we did the convincer, and it really did convince
mm,
him very quickly. And he was amazed that he still had this memory. He could still remember
yeah.
the event. But he said, but I don't feel anything about it. I'm indifferent to it.
Yes.
And having convinced him in that way, it made him even more uh, enthusiastic to continue.
Yeah.
Whereas the first case study was already kind of like, okay,
Mm,
was not skeptical. He was also very enthusiastic, but having somebody, convincing somebody
mm.
was, I think, was very powerful.
And
And
you were saying that when you were working with them, you could physically see changes like within their face
yeah,
and their body as you were doing it.
that was the first case study. Yes, he was quite tired because he just finished work,
Hmm.
but he I didn't realize how tense he was until I saw, after like a couple
Mm,
of the exercises we did, the tension just kind of like drained from his
yeah.
face, and he became more animated. Um, and I think it was at that point that I realized how powerful this really is,
Yeah.
because that was the first session of the first case
Mm.
study. So seeing the reaction of people responding to this, it's like, I don't know, it just gives you a really special feeling.
Yeah. No,
But
I completely agree. I completely
I have
agree.
to say though that my overall memory of doing the case studies really is of me shuffling papers and going through my notes. So that's why I'm a bit sketchy on the ins and outs of each case study.
This is why we practice. This is
Yeah.
why we practice. And this is why I encourage people to practice as much as, and you just do one thing, just do one of the things. We've got a Facebook group where loads of people want to practice. You've got a WhatsApp group, and you've got the monthly sessions as well. And you don't have to do full IEMT sessions with people. Say integrate it
Mm.
into what you're already doing. Just go, oh, if this thing comes up, I've got this, I've got this, you've got like 8 tools now to use on different things. Did you notice a physical difference between the first and second session with your case studies as well?
Yes. Yeah, for both of them,
Yeah,
because and also in, like, just asking them, how's the week been?
yeah,
Not specifically after, how's the week been after you went through this thing last week,
mm,
but just how's your week been? They both had really good weeks.
Mm.
which was not usual because they obviously had both been at work and where they were having problems.
Mm.
And yeah, coincidentally, they both had really productive weeks.
And one of them, I can remember reading is, and this is a very, very common thing. His weekends were ruined by the fear of going to work on the Monday morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how did that change? Without that fear of going to work, how did that change his life?
Well, his wife was very happy for a start because, you know, obviously if you're spending a weekend dreading going to work the next week, that's going to affect the way you behave and the way you interact with people that you're spending time
Mm.
with. So, yeah, I mean, having had that experience with his uh, family, it was really good to see him
Mm.
looking so happy, and
Yeah.
you know, it just changed everything.
And the thing is, I want to really get this across. We're not trying to make people happy. We're not filling them
Mm,
with confidence, and we're not giving them affirmations or doing anything like that. We're helping to remove and dissolve the negatives which they have
yeah.
with the emotional imprints, the emotions, the identity kind of work. Um, and you know, you physically see it when you sort of start to remove stress from the body or the cortisol and stuff. You know, I've been working with a client recently and we've done 4 sessions and she genuinely looks about 10 years younger because it improves everything like blood flow and every, you know, sort of blood pressure. I'm not making any medical claims here. Just
Yeah.
generally, this is what we tend to find. People look much healthier and happier without trying to be healthier and happier. And
And
they just
also,
may. Sorry, go on.
sorry, I was just going to say, this case study number one said that he was sleeping better, and that had also made a big difference to just his general sense of well-being.
Yeah, improved sleep is one of the key things I always get reported on because sleep is a weird thing. And if you're anxious, you're producing adrenaline and cortisol, which is
Yeah.
designed to keep you awake and to keep you alert because it's a perceived threat.
Mm.
And so it's very hard to go to sleep if you're producing these chemicals that are keeping you awake. And then you think, right, I've only got 7 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, you know, so
Yeah.
and then you go and do the thing. So by being more relaxed about things, you get better sleep, which makes you more productive. And so everything starts to build in the right way,
Yeah,
rather than it sort
exactly.
of cascading in the negative ways.
And that
So,
kind of mirrored my own experience after the
mm,
training, was that like everything kind of interacted with each other, and everything was linked, everything was
yeah,
related, and it just all like conspired to make me more productive and happier, and to sleep better. And
there you go. Worth the price of admission itself, eh? Yes,
absolutely, yeah.
yes, there we go. Okay. So a final thing. How do you now see yourself using IEMT going forward? What are you looking forward to doing and the kind of people you want to work with?
I don't know, but I I do want to use this in the future because I think it's an amazing tool, and to not use it um, would be a crime. No, I really think that it's helped me a lot personally, and I think
Mm,
again the experience on the training, and working on your own issues is as much a convincer as you need, really, because if you can help yourself that much, and then you do the case studies, you help two more people. Um, yeah, I would really like to use this tool to help people in the future, but exactly how, I don't know. I mean,
because
I will incorporate it into my practice, yes,
yeah,
but whether my practice will change, whether I'll develop a different niche, or I really don't know.
what you might find is when you start doing IEMT with people, you start to get quite a lot of referrals.
Mm,
Because what happens is that people have changes like yourself,
yeah,
and then they tell people because going for therapy, especially here in the UK, can be seen as quite, well, a negative thing, and people keep it quite personal. It's not like
yeah,
America where everyone has a therapist and they talk about it. In the UK, it's seen as a bit of a weakness, I suppose.
yeah,
And what I find is that people, yes, they might be quite skeptical and nervous about the first session, but my God, they enjoy the second one when they
Yeah.
arrive early because they've experienced these changes. And you don't have to wait for something to be really bad to benefit from this. It can just be around productivity, for
Yeah.
example. Now, I work with some horrible, horrible stuff, but also I work with sort of high-end clients who want to become a bit more productive at work,
Yeah.
because that means hundreds of thousands of pounds on the bottom line of their business. So, do you work with a particular type of client at the moment, or do you kind of sort of work with everybody? What's your...
I do. I work with men who have addiction to sex or pornography or masturbation. So, I mean, I could incorporate it into working with these people.
Well, there's an awful lot of identity work around that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
An awful lot of
absolutely.
identity work.
And
And
guilt.
yeah. And what's also as well is that it's pretty much all content free.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that does stop men seeking help, seeking
Yeah.
therapy, because they are ashamed that they have to
Yes.
talk about these things in
Yeah.
talking therapy. But obviously with IEMT, you don't need to. So
That's brilliant. If people want to know more about you and your services, where do you live on the internet? What's your best social medias or website?
that's a good question. At the moment, I'm kind of changing all of my social medias, but I can be contacted at charlie@sexaddictionuk.net.
Cool. Well, Charlie, thank you very much for your time, and well done on going through the case studies and getting them in without procrastinating, which has been great. Oh, let me ask you so one last thing. Have other people noticed changes within you as well?
um, Nobody said anything, but I'd be surprised if they haven't.
Hmm.
I'll ask.
Yeah, because this is why you tend to get quite a lot of referrals as well. Because the thing is, you could be in talking therapy for like 6 months, and so like a friend of yours might be, well, you might not know that unless they told you. Somebody can go for one session of IEMT and they look different.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
physically look different. Their gaits change, their stand, without telling them to. It's just their natural way of being. Um, and their mannerism, everything sort of just improves. And so that's why you do tend to get quite a lot of referrals in that sense, because it's like, what's going on here? I
yeah.
saw you last week, and what's going on? And what you find as well, because I used to work with a lot of men in sort of confidence-based issues. Excuse me. And when people have low confidence, it's kind of like a cycle. It's like a chicken and egg. They dress badly, poor hygiene, crap clothes,
Yeah,
and then they feel bad. Well, of course you do. And whenever I used to do like sessions on Zoom, their room, without fail, was always a crap hole.
yeah,
Always. And like, oh, because of whatever, it doesn't matter. Why are you wearing this? When you work on their core negative beliefs and things that have happened to them, they start to dress better. They start to actually take care of themselves. They go to the barber, they buy themselves some decent clothes, they actually shower every day. I've had numerous sessions when I used to work in a clinic where I'd be in the waiting room and my client was also waiting, but I wouldn't recognize them because they just looked
right. Yeah,
different and so different. They will often sort of swap glasses for contacts, have a haircut, be like, and I haven't told them to do this.
yeah,
It's just
exactly.
felt so natural. Um, so for all
And
the people,
I'm wearing my best clothes, by the way.
brilliant, good man. I like that jacket. Actually, it's almost like a biker jacket, isn't it? So I like it. So there'll be a lot of people watching this now in the same position that you were 6 weeks, 2 months ago, whatever it might be,
Yeah,
who is considering learning IEMT for their own personal development and also to use in their own practice, who are kind of sat on the fence because they've heard about all this stuff. They don't believe it's real a lot of the time, stuff like that. Uh, as somebody who's a therapist, who's been through training, being a teacher and everything, what do you have to say to these people who are considering or just doing their research on IEMT?
I would say, yeah, do your research, watch as many videos as you can. But from my own experience, I would say go for it, do it, because um, it is a life-changing experience to actually to experience it yourself and to be able to pass that on and help other people. It really does work. So it can make great changes. I would say go for it. Absolutely. No regrets.
Thank you very much for your time today.
No,
And
you're
I will
welcome.
see you at the monthly coaching trainings I do. So for everyone who goes through my training, just to sort of recap, so basically you get all the information beforehand. It's a weekend training. Then afterwards, I do a monthly session, which you're all invited to. And there's usually about sort of 50, 60 people at it. So you get to meet all the community. And the IEMT community is really nice as well. You know, everyone just gets on. There's no competitor. If you are competitive, I'll throw you out. You know, so there's no, I will, I'll just throw you out. So that we don't allow that kind of competitiveness. Everyone's there to help each other. There's enough work for everyone. Trust me. With everyone working online, there's 7 billion people in the world. There's enough work for absolutely everybody. Um, and I'm here to not only support you to get you through your case studies, but to help you become a really good practitioner as well. And so, because, you know, it's, you know, you give what you get sort of thing, because most of my stuff is referral, you know,
Yeah.
so do it that way. So congratulations. I'm going to do your
Thank
certificates
you.
shortly after you've joined the association, and go forth and change lots of people's lives.
I
So,
will.
so thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you.